Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me. Awesome show for you today. You know what? I'm just going to go because you already know what you're here for. Shannon Sharpe is back in the news cycle again. I don't think anyone should be surprised what he's in the news cycle for. There are allegations against Shannon Sharpe. A woman has filed a $50 million lawsuit and accusing Shannon Sharpe of anal rape. And anyway, it's an ugly lawsuit. Shannon Sharpe has responded, he and his lawyers, very, very aggressively. They are not holding back here. They're trying to put a stop to this as soon as possible. And so yesterday, when news was breaking out about this lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe, the ESPN broadcaster, the host of Club Shay Shay, the host of Nightcap, the media mogul, the hottest star in all of sports media, in my opinion, when these allegations came out yesterday, Shannon Sharpe, through his attorney, Lanny J. Davis, wow. Did they respond? They released a bunch of text messages allegedly from the alleged victim that paint her in a very sexually aggressive light. I will not read all of the text messages, but I'll just read some of them to give you a flavor for how aggressively Shannon Sharpe is trying to put this thing down and trying to destroy her credibility. I know you missed this big juicy ASS, 25K for each cheek. That's a text message from this Gabriella Zuniga, I think is her name, on January 1, 2025. That's just where they started out. No, actually where they started out was, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. That's on October 7th, 2023. This is a woman that Shannon Sharpe allegedly met when she was 19, 20 years old, I believe, in Los Angeles at a gym. Shannon Sharpe is 56, 57 years old now. He met this woman in the past couple of years. They both, according to this lawsuit, are back and forth, moved to Nevada and have been carrying on a sexual relationship, pretty explicit or pretty freaky sexual relationship for a long time. And so my reaction to this is that I'm sure these are birds of a feather flocking together. Shannon's defense here seems pretty aggressive, and he's probably winning the argument at the moment. But the lawyer involved, Tony Busby, is the lawyer that brought down Deshaun Watson. That's who's working with this alleged victim. And if we know anything about Tony Busby, his tactic is he's trying to fan the flames, and he's trying to attract other victims to reach out to him to build a case against Shannon Sharpe, to basically Deshaun Watson, Shannon Sharpe, or Bill Cosby, Shannon Sharpe, or Harvey Weinstein, Shannon Sharpe. So Shannon Sharpe and his lawyers have shot down the first alleged victim. Tony Busby is banking on that there are multiple alleged victims who will reach out to him. Shannon Sharpe, it was in the news cycle in the last 3 to 4 days about he's expecting to sign a $100 million media contract. And so any woman that's had a problem with Shannon Sharpe thinks and possibly has speculated on like, hey, I had a problem with Shannon Sharpe. He's about to get $100 million. Tony Busby is looking for alleged victims. And if we know anything about Shannon Sharpe and his media career and his public life, again, what was it? In the last 6 to 8 to 10 months, Shannon Sharpe accidentally leaked a sex tape that most people believe was intended to dispute rumors that Shannon Sharpe was gay because he was running around with his gay hairstylist or gay stylist sitting courtside at NBA games with the guy that I think his name's Hollywood, and he used to be attached to an NFL safety that, you know, they made the news cycle. This guy, guys that were built like Shannon Sharpe, this stylist, there's the stylist sitting to the left of, or to the right of Shannon Sharpe. Hollywood had a sexual affair. What was his name? Kerry Rhodes, I believe, the NFL safety, built a lot like Shannon Sharpe. They were in a long-term relationship that ended poorly, and Shannon Sharpe started parading around the country with the guy, or parading around Los Angeles and events with the guy, and it just raised a lot of eyebrows. And Shannon Sharpe eventually had a sex tape leaked, or a sex audio tape leaked, with a woman calling herself Michelle, to dispute these rumors about Shannon being gay. But Shannon has had a long, sordid history with women, like a lot of athletes, like a lot of men who exercise no sexual discipline. But if you go back to his career at CBS Sports, where that ended because of allegations from women, there's a pattern here. And so today, when Shannon Sharpe was, by all news reports, back on First Take today, one day after someone files a $50 million lawsuit accusing you of rape, one day after you release text messages, highly sexual text messages from the alleged victim, ESPN, all systems go. And the reason why I'm critical of ESPN, or just like raise a side eye, is that it's like, okay, maybe this woman is lying, but anybody with a brain knows that Shannon Sharpe has had a long, sordid history with women making allegations about him and lawsuits being settled. This is an open secret. And so, yes, he has proven that this 19, 20, 21-year-old woman clearly wanted to have sex with him, but I'm not sure if he's out of the woodworks just yet. I'm not sure if he's out of danger just yet, because this is Tony Busby's strategy: create controversy around some male athlete with no sexual discipline and see what crawls out of the woodwork. And so this will be very interesting to follow, to see where this ends up going. Others seem to be fanning the flame as well, including on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. The flame seemed to be getting fanned by Paul Heyman, longtime WWE personality, executive, he's involved in the WWE, and we'll play some clips of that, of what was said on the Pat McAfee show. It's like they're going to create, and maybe this is all good, and this is what I can't figure out, and we'll have to ask. Maybe they're going to create enough controversy around Shannon Sharpe, enough conversation around Shannon Sharpe, that this works like a Kim Kardashian deal. That on the other side of this, Shannon Sharpe will be even more popular, even more powerful on the other side of these sexual allegations. Or will Tony Busby and the Me Too movement and women coming out of the closet and out of the woodwork to make allegations about Shannon Sharpe, will that catch Shannon Sharpe up? And will he face the same fate as a Bill Cosby, a Harvey Weinstein, a Deshaun Watson? I love to know what you all think, and I know many of you are like, hey, look, these women, and I certainly get that. But when there's a 20-year pattern, 15-year pattern of allegations of misconduct that cost you a job at CBS Sports, landed you in some behind-the-scenes trouble at Fox Sports, and now has spilled out. And this is when I was saying Shannon seemed to take a lot of delight in delight in what happened with Charlie Dixon and Skip Bayless and Joy Taylor. And I was saying, hey, be careful, Shannon. These same flames that are blowing up Skip Bayless and Charlie Dixon, these same flames could come after you. And this may be the beginning of it. Obviously there will be a lot of people caping up for Shannon Sharpe because, you know, he's a persecuted black man, I'm sure, in their minds. But this is very fascinating. When I saw Paul Heyman on Pat McAfee's show and the way he attacked Shannon Sharpe, I was like, oh, they're fanning the flames of this fire. They're not done with this Shannon Sharpe deal. And we'll play those clips here in a second. But before we do that, I want to make sure I thank our partners at Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today for only $19.95. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. I want to play you Paul Heyman, the WWE, and this WWE aspect element of this is interesting as well, because they just had a WrestleMania that was not as successful as what they're used to. A lot of complaints about this WrestleMania they just had Easter weekend. And the next thing you know, one of their big personalities, one of their number one doo-doo stirrer, Paul Heyman, is on ESPN and Pat McAfee, and within 60, 90 minutes of this news coming out, Paul Heyman's taking shots at Shannon Sharpe on the Pat McAfee show. Let's start with shot number 2. This is a quick one where this is the one I think that has gone most viral. Let's play shot number 2. Paul Heyman just taking a unnecessary shot at Shannon Sharpe.
Do you care about the opinions of people who are irrelevant? You don't care about the opinions of most people who are very relevant in your life. You don't care about the opinions of the people who pay you. Okay. They sit there and they go, hey, Mr. McAfee, don't talk about Shannon Sharpe on the air today. Okay. And you go, I talk about anything I want. I'm Pat McAfee. Right. Watch me swing my schlong all over the place. They go, McAfee, don't talk about your podcast on the air. What do? I'm King Schlong. Okay. Watch me, Pat McAfee. Right?
This is on you. This is about you, not me. Accurate stuff,
right?
Accurate stuff, but
I mean, come on. Hey, last night when the roast was over and you and I were out back and you're going, wise man. By the way, it's puff, puff, pass, not puff, 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 chase down the gummy, puff, 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 pass, right? And you go, wise man. You know Stephen A. Smith really sucks, right? Right? And I go, I love Stephen A. The man calls me the GOAT. The man, Stephen A. Smith, is on the air saying, if there's one person in the universe that I, Stephen A. Smith, at $70 billion a year want to be, it's the wise man Paul Heyman. And you sit there and you go, these ESPN bastards give me the same money as him, or they can.
No, that's not true. None of that's true. With that being said, there was a lot of weed being smoked last night.
So, the WrestleMania, a lot of its fans upset. Ticket pricing, didn't think it was creatively done. There was a lot of conversation. It had good ratings, got it. But there was a lot of conversation about WrestleMania being off without Vince McMahon. The creative's not as good, and the pricing has gone through the roof. And all of a sudden Paul Heyman's on ESPN taking all the attention away from that and putting the WWE in a different conversation or switching the conversation to Shannon Sharpe. This is all fascinating and interesting to me that, like, what's ESPN going to do? What this Pat McAfee riff with Stephen A. Smith and people that are aligned with Stephen A. Smith, such as Shannon Sharpe, that war just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. And the entire thing, what we just saw there in terms of Paul Heyman talking about Pat McAfee and getting high and all of this, it's unbelievable for me that these sinners, and I saw the movie Sinners last night, and I'll probably talk about it with Shamika on the Harmony channel after today's show on the different Harmony channel, and I'll bring that up at the end of the show. But these sinners, from Pat McAfee to Shannon Sharpe, and again, I'm not sure where I'm going to try to squeeze in a Kanye conversation today as well, because Kanye spun off the rails again and talked about, it's one of the most unbelievable, sexual molestation and his involvement in it. But it's like, what world have we created where you're more valuable as a personality and a entertainer and as an influencer, you're more respected the more controversy and the more sexual controversy and the more immoral, irresponsible you are. We've turned all of television into basically the real world. You remember the Real World on MTV, and maybe it's still going on, but that's when we started doing reality TV and placing flawed people, very flawed people, screwed up people in a house, and then pouring some gasoline in there and throwing a lit match into the house and just setting things on fire. And it feels like that's what's happened at ESPN. It feels like that's what's happened throughout all of TV. If you're not tatted up, sexually degenerate, profane, unnecessarily profane, there's no place for you in corporate media. There's no place for you with an elevated platform. You must be profane. You must be degenerate. You must promote sin to some degree in order to be, and so I just sit back and go, I think Shannon Sharpe, part of me thinks this controversy, this latest controversy, and no matter what Tony Busby does, no matter how many women come out and say anything about Shannon Sharpe, I actually think it's going to work for Shannon Sharpe. This is brand building. And I'm looking at Pat McAfee, brand build. And I'm looking at Kanye West, brand build. And we're living in a, for someone like me, 57, I spent my entire life thinking like, hey, if I avoid some of these activities, if I avoid dirtying up my name, if I avoid embarrassing myself or embarrassing my family and getting caught up in some sort of controversy that puts me in a bad light, it's going to actually enhance my career and increase my opportunities. And now I've lived long enough to know it's just the opposite. And I'm baffled and disturbed and disconcerted and wondering, what world are we leaving young people? This is, and so I just, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to digest. I can't even say my thoughts on this are crystal clear. But holy cow, what a time to be alive. What a time to be a culture critic. And to, at some point today, either on this channel or it'll probably be on the Harmony channel, I'm going to talk about this movie, Sinners. I'm going to talk about the latest with Carmelo Anthony and his family moving on up like George Jefferson. And what world have we built? What is this? And am I just the old fart that has clearly existed in the corporate world past his expiration date, or just my ways just have no value in this current world? Is it the real, has it gone that evil and woke? Because I'm telling you, I was sitting at this movie last night. It's a Monday night. The theater is packed on a Monday night, and I'm watching this movie, Sinners. This is the Michael B. Jordan movie, with my mouth wide open, like, what am I watching? This is art? This is allowed? And I turn on sports TV, and I'm like, this is allowed? This is, Paul Heyman can go on a show and talk about getting high with Pat McAfee, and he can talk about and troll Shannon Sharpe over allegations of rape. This is where we're at. Again, there used to be a place for this, and where it was off on the fringes. It's now all mainstream. And I know that some of you get tired of me like, hey man, old man, get off my line. Don't you understand? The porn era is here. Quit complaining about it. When I complained about like the Temu ads that I was getting fed and that everybody's getting fed, oh, that's a reflection of what you search, Whitlock. Quit complaining, blah, blah. My mind is blown. My mind is blown about where we're at, where we're headed, and, you know, perhaps you guys get tired of hearing me talk about it, but I can't quit talking about it because it's blowing my mind. We'll bring in Steve Kim, further this discussion, but before I do that, I want to talk to you and save you guys some money and tell you about Real Estate Agents I Trust. Anytime in life that you have to make a big change, it's hard. This is especially true when you're planning to buy a house or sell a home. It's really complicated. It takes a lot of time and a lot of jumping through hoops. And of course, the stakes are just about as high as they ever get in terms of financial decisions that you make. So obviously, you need a real estate agent to help you with all of this. But what you don't want is just some ordinary agent who does this on the side. You want the best. Real Estate Agents I Trust pairs you with the top-selling real estate agents in your area. This is someone who knows the best practices, someone who understands the crazy housing market, someone who's a team leader and a closer, someone you can trust. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home or both, please get in touch with them. You'll see what I mean. Real Estate Agents I Trust, the name says it all. Go to realestateagentsitrust.com. That's realestateagentsitrust.com. Steve Kim, next.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. There's something bad going on with American men. It's been obvious for a while. It's measurable in a million different ways, but it's also right in front of your face. For that reason, I'm joining Jason on Friday, May 2nd in Nashville for the Roll Call 3.0 conference, and I hope to see you there.
Join us at Fearless Roll Call 3.0. Real men, real conversations, real purpose. Tickets at fearlessrollcall.com.
I've struggled with my health and weight loss most of my life, feeling sore, low energy, and having a hard time staying mentally sharp. But Relief Factor, it's changed all of that. I feel better, I move better, I think better. It's been a real transformation. And here's the thing, it's only $20 to try. If Relief Factor works for me, and I'm no easy case, it can work for anyone. Don't wait, call 1-800-4RELIEF or visit relieffactor.com.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So fly
All right, welcome back. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from Steve Kim. Are we watching Shannon Sharpe's Kim Kardashian moment, where he continues to elevate, or are we watching Shannon Sharpe crash and burn like a Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein or a Deshaun Watson? Steve, where is this headed?
I'm not sure about this, but Jason, when I read the story early last morning, I'm thinking, not good, not completely surprising. But Jason, when I heard the name Tony Busby attached, I was like, wait a minute, who's this guy? Tony Busby, that rings a bell. And then obviously I Googled it, and then I said, geez, Busby, Deshaun Watson. Jason, isn't Busby really just a newer, maler version of Gloria Allred? I have to be honest about it. Once I heard that name, I started having my doubts. It does look Cosby. Think of the timing. Over the weekend, it was reported that Shannon's going to make a lot of money with this podcast. His deal is ending. He's going to sign a new deal. He's going to get generational wealth. Everything's looking good. And then this happens. So, yeah, it does feel a little Cosby-esque to me.
Okay, it feels Cosby-esque, but Cosby went to jail.
Yeah, that's true.
It feels,
that's true. Good point.
It feels Deshaun Watson-esque, but Deshaun Watson's career has been destroyed in the aftermath of it. And maybe, and people aren't ready for this, but it's just like it feels Harvey Weinstein-esque, but Harvey Weinstein's in jail because it's just like Harvey Weinstein, the woman that I think either in New York or LA, he had a long-term relationship with her, but they still convicted him of rape, and they didn't have very much evidence at all. I'm not sure if that's going to happen here with Shannon Sharpe, but the thing, when I see Tony Busby's name, what I think is he's fishing for more complaints, and someone's going to answer that call.
You know, you're right about that. And Busby had a roster. I mean, that thing was deep, right, in terms of the complaints against Deshaun Watson. But, Jason, this is the ironic thing about the Me Too movement. Back when it started, whenever it did, it was about protecting females, supposedly. It was about men acting right. As we fast forward to 2024 and 25, in my view, there's a healthy bit of cynicism over the whole movement, over how insidious it might really be. And it is about taking down men with power and controlling them in certain ways. My view is very simple as it relates to Sharpe. He deserves his day in court. This is why we have a system, as Don King would say, of Jewish prudence. And we got to let him come out with his own facts. Now, I'll be honest with you, Jason. I'm all for someone denying the allegations. The way they did it yesterday, Shannon, I'm like, okay, I think there's a fine line between sticking up for yourself and making a mockery out of your own case. I mean, they gave up the whole playbook here. I don't know if that helps them either, releasing all that information with the graphic detail. But again, he deserves his due process in this whole situation, bottom line.
If you're ESPN, do you have him on air today the way as if nothing has happened? And the reason I say that, let's say this woman is bogus, but there is a pattern of allegations against Shannon Sharpe involving women. There is a pattern of, hey, Shannon and the leaked tape of him having sex with a woman. And that was just an accident. He just happened to drop his phone or whatever that was. Now we have this. How many different does ESPN say, hey, this is a good thing? Shannon's in the news and more people are going to watch. He's got more street credibility now. What are the ESPN executives saying? If we sit him down, can he sue us? Maybe they think he doesn't need us. He's about to get a $100 million contract. Maybe we'll piss him off and he'll leave. What's ESPN thinking?
They may be afraid of the blowback. I mean, think about it. If you bench or suspend Sharpe, then it becomes, oh, here they go. They're going after the man's coming after our guy again. And they're going to start to play a game of whataboutism. So, Jason, are you saying that the sex tape is basically the Tower 7 of all sex tapes? That's the conspiracy. we should no longer believe the story.
Yes.
There's a story behind the story. That sex tape didn't just reveal itself. Right. I get what you're saying there. But the problem is, I don't think ESPN, this is what I think the problem is. ESPN has a different set of rules for different set of people, and some of it is based on stature, how much money you make, and also, let's be honest, what race you are. And so if you put all of those things together and you start doing your algorithm of like, what's going to be the public outrage if we even dare suspend Shannon Sharpe for one day, I believe they're going to go on as business as usual.
Look, I don't think you have to suspend Shannon Sharpe as much as you say, hey, he's got some allegations going on. We're going to give him the rest of this week to try to regroup and address that and bring it back. This isn't a suspension. It's just like, hey, we want sports fans tuning in and listening to our conversation and thinking about sports, not these text messages, not the latest sexual allegations. And I'm sure when he signed a contract with ESPN, it's very expensive. But I just don't think they can be surprised that Shannon Sharpe has another sexual controversy going on. It's he's gay. It's here's a sex tape he's released. Now it's here's allegations of rape. Now it's, hey, here's the text messages that this woman was sending him that are really, really sexually explicit. I just, if this were Skip Bayless, and because I think
gone.
you're 1,000% right about if the guy was white,
He gone.
if the guy was white, he's in a, Dan Orlovsky can't survive this. And, you know, Dan Orlovsky's a bad example. He's married. But I don't know what white personality at ESPN that could survive this.
The only tapes involving Dan Orlovsky, I think, probably show cover 2, cover 3, and 0 coverage. I don't think the explicit stuff would really apply to him. But Jason, here's the issue. And again, I am not trying to make light of the allegations, but we would be setting, or they would be setting, a slippery slope, in my opinion, if allegations could get you sidelined. Okay? And I am not disputing the track record of Shannon Sharpe, which you know well about. You've detailed them. The other thing is, Shannon Sharpe, this whole thing may bring him buzz. Keep this in mind still. ESPN is still in the programming and ratings business. If this does not hurt their business, but instead enhances their ratings, I mean, what really is the impetus at this point to pull Shannon Sharpe in lieu of another allegation not coming to light?
Steve, I want to pivot to Paul Heyman and Pat McAfee. But before I do, I want to inform the audience, tell the audience about a great new sponsor and opportunity for them, CB Distillery. If you're tossing and turning all night and feeling edgy during the day, let me tell you about CBD from CB Distillery. Millions are turning to their CBD for relief because it works. If you're not sleeping at night, I'm telling you, this thing could be the cure. In fact, over 90% of customers report better sleep with CBD. And it's not just sleep. CB Distillery offers targeted formulations for just about everything: sleep, stress, mood, focus, pain, after exercise. They even have CBD for pets. And it's all made with the highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. After a long night, I love taking the sleep gummies from CB Distillery. They help me feel fully rested and ready for the day ahead. And with more than 2 million satisfied customers and 100% money-back guarantee, CB Distillery is the source to trust. If you're struggling with sleep, stress, or other health concerns and haven't found relief, make the change, like millions are, to CBD from CB Distillery. And for a limited time, you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery. Use the promo code FEARLESS. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code FEARLESS, cbdistillery.com. Specific product availability depends on individual state regulations. Luke, who works here with us, I know you struggle with sleep from time to time, and I definitely want to get you to try this CB Distillery, the CBD. I think it will have amazing impact on you. It's something I'm in roll call time, and I'm really overworked, really stressed. Again, I'm struggling with sleep. That's why I was at the movie theater last night until 12:30 in the morning, because I went to go see a movie at 10 p.m. at night. We're all going, me, Luke, we're going to try this, and I feel very confident that we're going to see results because a lot of people have, and I've used this product previously, and it has helped. My mother's used this product previously. It helped her sleep. Want you all to use, go to cbdistillery.com, use the promo code FEARLESS, 25% off. Steve, I want to go back to Pat McAfee and Paul Heyman. I think we have a different clip. I think we played the other one backwards, but here's Paul Heyman talking about CM Punk and Shannon Sharpe. Let's play that clip.
See, CM Punk does as much good to my reputation as Shannon Sharpe does to ESPN.
Oh, no, jeez. Oh, boy. All right, see, all right, we don't need that. We don't need that. A lot going on.
Don't ooh me. I'm not the one getting sued.
Whoa, okay, all right. Whoa.
Is Pat McAfee in on that, or is he truly taken aback by Paul Heyman there?
That's a great question. I don't know what the relationship is between McAfee and Sharpe. Now, if it was Stephen A. Smith, I would say, yeah, that's a work, as they say in the professional wrestling world. But look, that's the beauty of the McAfee show, whether you're a fan or not. They are the renegades. They play by a different set of rules, and he seems to have a certain type of freedom or license that no other show has. I mean, look, they might get a reprimand, but at the end of the day, there could be some higher up saying, hey, you really shouldn't have done that. And McAfee could say, all right, I'm sorry it happened. But here's the reality. He could also say, well, what are you going to do? Throw me off? I'm here. You're stuck with me. This is what you signed up for.
Is Shannon Sharpe bothered? Because the thing you're missing is I think McAfee's at war with Stephen A. Smith, and everyone aligned with Stephen A. Smith, and that would include Shannon Sharpe. You know, obviously Sharpe has bigger problems than what gets said on the McAfee show, but, you know, McAfee, if I'm an ESPN executive, it's like, hey, you're doing me no favors, Pat. You know, Shannon's caused us a little controversy here. We're having difficulty dealing with him. This is the outgrowth of the racial politics that has captured a lot of legacy in corporate media, is because if you say something to Shannon, Shannon's going to say, well, you got that white guy on his show taking pot shots at me not being how many of these pot shots we got to take from Pat McAfee? Shannon will play the race card. And I mean, ESPN is just a captured organization and corporation. I have some sympathy for them, but I really don't. They planted the seeds, laid the foundation, allowed the little special interest groups among their workers and employees to put them in this situation.
Well, I think the term you're looking for, Jason, is proxy war, which is a very fancy way of saying the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So now if you put those things together, it does add up. And again, you're bringing on someone from the WWE, even though it's been more corporatized than it was when I was watching it way back when. You look, when you hire Pat McAfee, which is a relatively unfiltered program compared to the rest of ESPN, you bring on someone from that world who probably does not care or even really know about the ESPN politics. He probably doesn't care if Shannon Sharpe or Stephen A. Smith ever like him. Yeah, this is exactly what you could end up with.
It's also what you end up with when everybody you employ and you pay a lot of money to, you then allow them to go out and do other things that allow them to make a lot of money where you don't need them.
Yeah.
And this is what I've never understood. The newspaper industry died because of this. It's like, hey, Jason, you write a great column for the Kansas City Star, but if you want to work for Fox Sports and ESPN as well, if you want to do this or that as well, you're perfectly free to do it. And now you've surrendered. You have no control over that employee. They have no control over Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith, or Pat McAfee. And that's how those guys are behaving.
Yeah, and you're going to create natural rivalries, especially when Stephen A. Smith has said, hey, I'm the hardest working guy here. I deserve to be paid the most. Meanwhile, McAfee will probably counter by saying, I probably have a bigger audience. And so the natural rivalries are going to develop. But again, also, there could be a situation where that Paul Heyman, he's just trying to make a joke. He may not even understand the corporate politics. I do know this. The years that I was at ESPN, it was made pretty clear to me, do not take shots at other ESPN personalities. Just don't. But again, I was really low on the totem pole. I was not at that McAfee level.
Steve, I want to change up. We're going to leave that topic alone and get you out of here on Nico Harrison. Nico made the comment yesterday that he did not know how important Luka Doncic was to the Dallas Mavericks fan base. Nico, of course, is the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks who's taking all the heat for trading Luka Doncic. Let's play the clip of Nico saying, I knew he was important, but I didn't know he was that important. I can't believe these fans are this upset. I'm caught by surprise. Let's play the Nico clip.
When you were kicking the idea of this trade around, and you had various scenarios planned in your head, did the anger and outrage from the fan base, has that exceeded what you were kind of planning for?
Yeah, good question. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level.
Are you buying that, or is he just? I think he's just saying what he has to say. He's been put in an incredible position. Ownership did this. Nico Harrison didn't make this to say, hey, we're going to trade Luka Doncic, one of the 2 or 3 best players, for a guy injury-prone, superstar athlete, but injury-prone and much older. Is he just out here trying to sell something that he doesn't really believe, or do you take him at his word here?
Nobody can be this hopelessly naive. He is the ultimate company man, and credit to him. We all have a family or to feed and bills to pay. But I mean, Jason, he didn't know the importance of Luka to that fan base. That'd be like an archbishop or any Catholic saying, man, this Pope guy, I didn't know it was such a big deal. Man, everyone's kind of upset by this Pope. Well, rest in peace to him, I guess. Come on. I know this, Jason, and I'm not saying he's the same level player. I remember in the summer of 2007 when Kobe was going really on a media tour to almost force and leverage his way out of LA. If Dr. Jerry Buss would have capitulated to Kobe, okay, this is only about 3 summers after Shaq had left. I'm not saying there would have been civil unrest or riots, not that important. There would have been some real issues with Laker fans. I mean, it would have caused a real buzz and a stir that all would have been negative. There's almost no way that Nico Harrison did not understand the importance of a Luka Doncic to that organization.
Steve, I got one more clip I want to play for you, Charles Barkley's reaction to it. Before I do that, I do want to tell you all about a documentary the Blaze has coming out. It's something the media you'd rather ignore. You've heard their version of January 6th. Now it's time to see what they've been trying to hide. The final episode of Blaze TV's in-depth investigation drops today, and it blows the narrative wide open. We've got Capitol surveillance footage, conflicting timelines, and serious questions about Officer Harry Dunn's story. It's streaming right now exclusively on Blaze TV. Subscribe today at blazetv.com/J6. That's blazetv.com/J6, and that's the number 6. Don't spell it out, to watch the full investigation from the very beginning. Steve, here is Charles Barkley reacting to Nico Harrison.
Is that my camera right there?
Okay, uh-oh.
Listen, man, I consider you a friend of mine, Nico Harrison. I consider you a friend of mine. I wish you nothing but the best. I thought you did a good job last year with the Mavs, and obviously whatever happened this year didn't work out. Man, don't do no more press conferences. Like, I don't even know what you're doing. I really don't. Like, I got sympathy and love for you, but I have zero idea what you're trying to do. This war is over, brother. You got to taking the L. I hope you keep your job. I hope that team get healthy. But man, don't do any more interviews. Please don't.
I don't know if he can take the Charles Barkley option and just go silent as the general manager. That would end, if he can't talk to anybody and can't take questions, can he actually do his job?
Well, hold on. The war analogy that he used has me thinking of Baghdad Bob. Remember Baghdad Bob? Hey, everything's okay. And meanwhile, Iraq is just like falling. Everything's in flames, going to dust. But here's the thing. I think it's great advice, though, because look, Nico Harrison, no matter what he says at this point, he is getting beat up like a heavy bag at the boxing gym. Okay, it's just daily. It's constant. It's an onslaught. But it's great advice because, Jason, we've all covered stories where something bad happens, there's a negative reaction, and we try to call somebody, right, if we don't have their direct number. And what are we always told by the PR staff? He's not being made available for comment, or he's not doing interviews right now. In fact, Jason, as of last year, we had a guy that ran the organization called the United States of America. Remember him? His name was Biden. He was basically hidden for the most part. I mean, think about it. The president was propped up. He was basically sequestered away. Nobody really knew who ran the country. And now there's books coming about it, admitting all of this stuff, right? So think about it. All he runs is a basketball organization. So why can't he do his job by not giving interviews to the media? All we're talking about is basketball here.
Steve, great job as always. Thank you so much. For those of you that want to hear my thoughts on Kanye West and what he did on social media yesterday, and if you haven't heard, holy cow, you want to talk about TMI, you want to talk about transparency and an inappropriate level of transparency, me and Shamika will talk about that on the Harmony channel here at the top of the hour. We'll also talk about, and this is probably where I want to start, with the movie Sinners and how it relates to the Carmelo Anthony situation, that there seems to be this big payoff in Hollywood and in life if you're willing to be anti-white racist. And so Carmelo Anthony, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but you know, they reported like he's been moved to a new location in a new house to protect his safety. They've raised all this money for Carmelo Anthony, the 17-year-old that killed Austin Metcalf, another 17-year-old. And so he's moving on up like George Jefferson, he and his family, because he killed a 17-year-old white kid. And there's part of my perspective on this that after seeing this movie Sinners, and this is the new Michael B. Jordan movie that made $60 million over the weekend. A lot of people are giving it great reviews. And so last night, I go watch this movie at 10 o'clock at night because I wanted to talk about it. I see it's in the news cycle. I go watch this movie. Theater's packed. It's a Monday night in Nashville, Tennessee. Theater is relatively packed. And I'm looking at people's reaction to this movie, and I'm looking at the reviews of this movie. And I'm like, people are going for this, and there is an audience for this type of movie making. And I'm like, if this is what young black kids, because this was it was a black movie, it's targeted at a black audience, and that's who was in the theater with me last night. And they're receiving this movie, and this movie has an anger and a vengeance angle to it that made me like, if this is what young kids are being fed, did it play a role in what Carmelo Anthony did to Austin Metcalf? I understand why people reach that conclusion. And so I'm going to unpack all of that in starting at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock Central, 12 noon Eastern on the Harmony channel. Go to youtube.com at Jason Whitlock Harmony, and we'll be live over there in 10 minutes. Got a great show for you over there. Please come join me. Please subscribe here and over at Jason Whitlock, or at Jason Whitlock Harmony. We'll see you there in 10 minutes. Let's play tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow on Fearless.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom.